Quran that came to pass. Bear in mind that the Quran was given to us over 1,400 years ago, and it is still resonating with facts. And inshallah, I implore Allah's mercy to make it easy for me, so we will deal with this topic and come out successful, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why shouldn't the prediction in the Quran be successful? It should be successful because it is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, what is prediction? Prediction, according to Webster's dictionary, it says prediction are events or information that is being forecasted as will happen in the future. Prediction is information of an event that is deemed to come to pass. That is prediction. But we have other types of prediction by, for example, meteorologists. Meteorologists are the weather forecasters. They predict that tomorrow is going to be rain. It's going to fall from 2 to 5. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. Why? Because it is based on calculation and summation and try and error. And in most cases, they do get it right. But when we say the Quran have made certain prediction, it is an established fact. It is a revelational prediction. And eventually, it will come to pass. Because most of the prediction made by the Quran have come to pass. And some that have not come to pass are yet to come to pass. Because if you look at the indicative of all this information, it clearly shows that those that have been predicted to come and have not come yet will eventually come to pass. And so I'm going to begin by the body of Fir'aun. The body of Fir'aun, or the dead body of Fir'aun, or Pharaoh. It is one of the most recent events that scientists have celebrated, that the body of Fir'aun is being found. Many books that Allah have given mankind, amongst them the Old Testament and the New Testament and other books that we don't even know, was it not mentioned in the Quran, made certain information also about the body of Fir'aun. The good old book, the Old Testament, mentioned that Fir'aun, or Pharaoh, and his people pursue the Israelites in the sea. But eventually, Pharaoh died because the sea caved in onto him after Moses and his people have, successfully got out of the sea. There is one aspect of information that Pharaoh is the only individual that claimed to be God Almighty by himself, because he said, Allah, I am the Lord Most High, He God. This is what Pharaoh did, to repent and come to terms with Moses. But he kept being defiant up until the time that eventually, when Israel, he changed his mind and with his own people in the sea. Recent events have turned out that the body of Fir'aun have been retrieved from the sea few years ago. In 1989, there's a professor by the name Lorette. This professor specialized on the mummified bodies of, the pharaohs that died. He's a specialist. So in that year, he went to Egypt. It's a place called the Valley of the Kings. The Valley of the Kings is a place where they bury most of the dead pharaohs. He was doing some research about the dead, pharaohs that are in the cave. And eventually, Lorette stumbled on one particular pharaoh. Because of the artifacts around that pharaoh, it caught his attention, Professor Lorette. So he brought the pharaoh out. He wants to know, what kind of pharaoh is this? Which particular pharaoh is this? So what he did was, he carbon dated that pharaoh. But before then, after he brought that pharaoh, outside, they begin to do some analysis in the year 1898. So he left the work unfinished and returned back to England. Then in 1907, another scientist by the name Smith, who is also a protege of Professor Lorette, he came to continue the work of his master Lorette. So he unveiled this particular pharaoh in Egypt. So he brought it out, and they want to know, what kind of pharaoh is this? How did he die? What makes him die? How old was the pharaoh? To do that, they have to do what we call the carbon dating with potassium test. Carbon dating is they cut a very small tissue of the pharaoh, they put it on the computer, and they put potassium. Somehow, it tells them exactly what was the disease that this pharaoh went through. How did he die? So when they did that carbon testing, it shows that the pharaoh died in, he died in the water, because there's so much water in his system, even though it's dry. But scientists somehow realized that he died as a result of being submerged in the water. It became so interesting. They want to find out, how old was the pharaoh? Again, they did carbon test. It shows that the pharaoh was in between 45 years to 60 years. They did the test again. It shows that the pharaoh died at a time very close to that of Moses. So they put one and one together, and it fell that this pharaoh clearly is the pharaoh Meneptah, Ramses II, the pharaoh of Moses. It became news. People all over the world have to go to Egypt to see this particular pharaoh because of what he did to the Israelites. So the Jewish people in diaspora all over the world, they went to Egypt to see the pharaoh that gave their ancestors hard time, the pharaoh that killed the men and left the women to live. They went and see. That year, the Egyptian government makes a lot of money by virtue of this particular pharaoh. Then few years, they took this pharaoh to England, to United States. They again brought it back to Alexandria, and then it is in Egypt. As we speak right now, the pharaoh is brought back to Egypt. But the information that they've gathered about this pharaoh is the prediction that we are talking about, that the Quran have stated unequivocally that this is the pharaoh of Moses. So there was a lot of talk amongst the intellectuals who specialize on the bodies of pharaoh. So when the case really was made as to the pharaoh that they found was indeed the pharaoh who pursued Moses in the sea, Pharaoh Meneptah, that's how they call the pharaoh. The Quran make a statement about this pharaoh. The Quran simply made a statement about this pharaoh. One word in the Quran. The Quran said, when Pharaoh was about to die in the water, then he realized that he made a big mistake. He wants to make a manly comeback. So he wants to say, I believe in the God of Moses and Aaron. Then Allah closed his mouth. Allah said, فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَطَنِكَ لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ النَّاسِ عَنْ آيَاتِنَا لَغَافِلُونَ. This day, O Fir'aun, we shall save you in your body, so that you will be a sign for those who will come after you. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
The Quran said, we will save you, O Pharaoh, but in your body, so that you will be a sign for those who will come after you. And indeed, scientists have retrieved the body of Pharaoh from decay. They are telling us clearly, scientific research have proven that that was the Pharaoh of Moses. So if Muhammad really, as they say, copied the Old Testament about the case of Pharaoh, why is it that no any other book mentioned that the Pharaoh will be retrieved? The Quran categorically, forcefully said, this day, O Fir'aun, we shall save you in your body, so that you will be a sign. He was a sign today. They take it all over the world. People look at it. Oh my God, that's the the Pharaoh of Moses. So how could Muhammad have thought in his mind, you know what? I'm going to copy the Old Testament, but then again, I'm going to insert in the Quran that his body will be found, because nobody mentioned that. So the detail is being upgraded based upon the knowledge of Muhammad at the time that he existed. There is nowhere possible for him to know that the body of Pharaoh will be retrieved. This clearly indicates to us that the body of Pharaoh is being retrieved, but the information from Muhammad is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever the Quran said have to come to pass. And this is an information that have come to pass in our very own eye. Who told Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? This can be found in Quran chapter 10 verse 92, where the story of Moses and Pharaoh took place, and where Allah clearly indicated to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the body will be retrieved, and it has been retrieved. That is, after the messenger left the earth completely, after he passed away years ago, they have found the body of Pharaoh. So who told him that the body will be found? This is one of the most beautiful and fantastic predictions that the Quran has made, and it has come to pass. No wonder Allah said in the Quran, "In huwa illa zikrun lil alamin wa la ta'lamunna naba'ahu barihin." This Quran is for the whole of mankind, but as time goes on, mankind will come to understand the truthfulness of the Quran. What Allah means is that based upon the bits and bit of information that is coming out today, as we develop our mind in terms of research and other technology, the Quran is being proved today to be the word of Allah. Who did that? Who did that? Now you have to tell me, is it Muhammad who was there when Pharaoh was in the water, or it was the will of Allah that made it for scientists to find that out? We will take the first one, that Allah revealed this information to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the case, and there is no doubt about the information that the Quran have given. So today, we celebrate the Quran. We celebrate the information technology that is in the Quran. We celebrate the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We celebrate the month of Ramadan. The month of Ramadan is the month that we really have to bring out information about the Quran, about Islam, for those who otherwise have nowhere to know about the situation of Islam. People think Islam is all about fighting. No, that's not true. People think Islam is all about killing people. No, that is not true. People think Islam is all about ISIS. No, that is not true. People think Islam is all about, Al-Shabaab. No, that is not true. People think Islam is all about, Boko Haram. No, that is not true. People think Islam is all about killing, maiming, destroying, getting angry with big beards, and allowing women not to do certain things that they do. They think Islam is subjugating women. Islam is subjugating fact. Islam is subjugating information, forgetting that in the 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, up to 16th century, the Muslims were there teaching the world science, teaching the world mathematics, numbers, and information. At that time, the Europeans were living in cages. They don't take no shower. They have no soap. When the Muslims were bubbling in Baghdad, in Qom, in Spain, in India, the Muslims were designing, discovering. You hear about algebra. It's an Arabic word, al-jabr. Al-jabra is the system whereby you equate certain numbers and you rough them up. Algebra. That's Islam. Who brought that? The Muslim did. Where were the Europeans? They were living in cages. They were suppressing information. Why? Because before the Renaissance, the ancient Romans, those at the helm of things, were saying that it is as the result of knowledge Adam sinned against God, and so therefore they suppressed knowledge. Adam, as a result of knowing something, he sinned against God. That's what they are teaching. And so therefore anyone that comes with science, they don't agree with that. They burn you at stake. So people begin to leave religion because they want to use the God-given bodily sense and mental powers that Allah have given them to digress information, process it. So they left the religion. They became atheists. They became free thinkers, and they begin to research. And that is exactly what Allah wants human beings to do, to research. In the Quran, you hear a word, Allah saying, أَفَلَا تَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Don't you analyze the Quran? Don't you think about the Quran? Don't you look at the verse of the Quran and the wording? وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ إِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ. Had it been someone else wrote the Quran, لَوَجَدُوا فِي إِخْتِلَافًا قَصِيرًا. There would be so much contradiction in the Quran, meaning there isn't any contradiction. And the only way a person will rejuvenate his mind is to research and study. And that is exactly what these thinkers are doing today. By virtue of that, we have land on the moon. Mankind is doing so many wonders because of research. Where do they get it? The Muslims. Pages of history bear record to that. It has gone down to the annals of history. The Europeans wish they can expunge the contribution of Islam in projecting the world to the next millennium. They wish they can rub it off, but they can't rub it off. It has gone down as a history. We were there from the beginning. Alchemy, chemistry. What is alchemy? It's an Arabic word meaning something you put sugar, you put salt, you put water, you come out with something. Chemistry, alchemy is an Arabic word. Who brought it? Us. Physics, anthropology, all this knowledge was brought by Islam. But yet, people seem not to understand the implication of Islamic research. They only look at the skirmish side of Islam without giving the credit to where the credit is due. So it is about time that we have to rise up to the challenge and present to mankind that Islam is not all about fighting. You can't even fight in Islam unless you justify yourself. Islam allows for you to protect yourself. That is the natural, freedom for you to protect yourself. Even if you attack a cat or a snake or any animal, once the animal gets to the corner, no way out, he's going to go like this. He's going to go into defensive mode to protect himself. Don't you see? Chicken with her young, once you get close, she go like this, protective mode. It is natural. You have to protect yourself. So all the fight that went at the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Mecca and Medina, the Muslims were defending themselves. The first war that happened between the Muslims and the unbelievers is the Badr. Badr was in Medina. The Muslims were in Medina. So it was the Meccans who came to Medina. They came to our doorstep to destroy Islam. So we have to defend ourselves. The United States, if you play rough around them, they realize with their Interpol and CIA, okay, let's defend ourselves. It's natural. I'm in my room with my family. You come trying to rob me. I might defend myself. So Islam have been defending itself. But, Uhud, the second war between the unbelievers and the Muslims, was also fought in Medina. They came again. We fight and defend ourselves. That is Islam. And before each and every war at the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he tell Bilal and Abdullah bin Mas'ud and few other Sahaba, he said, you are going to fight and protect your religion in the name of Allah. Do not kill women. Do not kill children. Do not destroy the city. Do not burn the city. Do not destroy animals. Fight and defend yourself. To the person that come with the intention of striking you, strike him and protect yourself. That is a natural given right. All the wars that the expedition that took place, it is self-defense. Wallahi, all of them. Islam is a merciful religion. Allah said in the Quran, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have not sent thee, O Muhammad, but as a mercy for mankind. We have not sent thee, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, except to be a mercy to mankind. Allah said in the Quran, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَظًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ فَاعْفُ عَنْهُمْ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُتَوَكِّلِينَ. Because of my mercy that I've given to you, O Muhammad, this Sahaba love you so much. The mercy that Allah have given him. Allah cautioned him. Had it they would have run on them. Islam is all about mercy, and the highest mercy was exhibited when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to town. Because if you are looking at Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ. Indeed, in the person of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a built pattern of conduct. You will learn so much pattern of conduct which you can use as a bedrock to live in this dunya towards the akhirah. So Muhammad is all about peace. It's all about peace. There was no war fought. How many war did England fought? Why? To defend their country. How many war did France fought? To defend their country. The United States, how many war? Okay, so when Hitler came to Europe, he said, you know what, England, I'm coming to take over England. What did England do? No, we have to fight and defend our land, right? They didn't say, okay, Hitler, you can take the land. All right. No, did they say, right, it's a natural God-given. Quran said, if you kill one person, it is as if you've killed the whole. And if you save one life, it is as if you've saved the life of all mankind. So I want people to start thinking about Islam on a different perspective, based on judge Islam by a country. Oh, this country is a Muslim country. They are fighting. No, don't judge them. Don't judge them like that. Judge Islam by the teaching of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are humans. We all make mistakes. So if somebody's, let's say somebody's a Jew, and I saw him beating up somebody, killing somebody, oh man, Judaism is a horrible religion because they're killing somebody. No, because I use my logic. Judaism doesn't allow for people to kill. Thou shalt not kill. The first of the 10 commandments is there. Jesus said in the gospel, forgive your enemy 10 times. If somebody slap you, turn the other cheek. Somebody, take your shirt, give him the pants also. Settle with your enemy before you go to the court. That's what Jesus taught. None of the religion taught to go and fight. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if somebody slap you or somebody fight you, tell him you are a peaceful maker. But if he go deep into destroying your life, then you are allowed to defend yourself. To defend yourself is a natural mechanism that all living beings are given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Islam really defended itself. There was a time that Abu Bakr Siddiq, may Allah be pleased with him, a man came and started insulting him, just like that. Just began to insult him. Ya Abu Quhafa, you are this, you are that, you are this, you are that. Muhammad was sitting there, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Bakr was there, and so are a few companions. They keep talking rubbish about him. He never say a word, and the messenger didn't say a word. He keeps saying, and Abu Bakr was so quiet. So when the guy kept insulting, raining down storm of insult on him, Abu Bakr couldn't take it again. So he rose up and he began to reply. Then the messenger said, no, Abu Bakr, the time that this guy was insulting you and you were quiet, the angels were cursing him and Allah is protecting you. Now that you take upon yourself to defend yourself, Allah remove the angels, fend for yourself. That means you have to exercise restraint. That's all about Islam. That's what Islam is teaching. But today, subhanallah, every little thing, oh, the Muslim, as if everybody in the dunya, in this world, are angels walking on earth. Angels. And nobody's son, just the Muslims, right? No, that's not the truth. So today, we are giving you a different dynamism about Islam. As we talk about the prediction made about, many important information that took part in our century, which no one was there. Muhammad was not there when it happened, but yet Allah has given him the information, and today we are sharing it with you. The second point of prediction in the Quran can be found in Quran chapter 30 verse 1. Surah Ar-Rum. At the very beginning, Allah said, Alif La Mim Gulibatur Rum Fi Adnil Ard wa hum min ba'di galibihim sayaglibun. Let's stop right there. The Romans have been defeated in the lowest part of the land. Allah said, even after this defeat, they will come to be victorious again. There was a war that went out between the Persians and the Romans when Muhammad was in Mecca. So when the war was going on, the Persians were very, very strong. Today we call them Iran. Very powerful, ferocious. They were conquering nations around them. Everybody was scared of them, including the big old Constantine. The Byzantium Empire was even scared of him. So what happened was that the Persians, they walked upon the Romans, destroying them. There was a big fight. And the Romans, of all people, they lost the war completely, hands up. What happened after this? The Mushriks, the pagan Meccans, they were celebrating because the Romans were beaten by the Persians. Why are they supporting the Persians? Because the Persians are fire worshippers. They worship creation. And the pagan Arabs also worship creation. So they were siding with the Persians, who are also idol worshippers. Because the Romans have the book. They have the Injil. They believe in Jesus Christ. They believe in God. They have the Injil. So the Muslims were supporting the Romans because they are their counterpart. They are the people of the book. So there was a big loud, there was a big party in Mecca. They were taunting the Muslim, and the pagans were telling the Muslim, you see what happened to your friends, the Romans, whom you claim to be Ahl al-Kitab? They have lost the fight. The same thing, we also gonna beat you up, and you will lose the fight. Big liberation of the land. They will come back to be victorious. Who? The Romans will be victorious. So when this ayah came, the Arabs were making fun at Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How can the Romans defeat the Persians? Let me give you an example of the situation back then. Let's say we know the British Empire today, very powerful back then, the colonialism. We know how powerful they are. Then a country like Togo, take that for example, like the country, and defeat the British Empire. Is it possible again to be victorious on that same level? And so the whole laughing at the Muslims. How could you say defeat the, look at their empire? They have all the land taken. Also the Romans, they annexed it to their land. So they are so big and huge. So how could the Quran say that they will be victorious again? We can believe the Quran is absolutely at the strength of the that the Romans cannot be victorious. The blood that comes, then all of a sudden, mass themselves was a big war that took place. So as they are, you know, they are tankers, camels in the desert, is to rush them up to pass away. 3 to 9 years. Because it is a, if we go back home at Rome, that is exactly what happened. Who told Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the that they will be victorious again? No one, not a single human being will be able. It belongs to Allah. The day belongs to Allah. It is Allah who sent down the prediction to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam come into pass, and it did. So the of Quran, the science of Quran, we're talking prediction. Same verse again that I've just quoted. The Romans have been defeated in the lowest part. Fi adn al-ard. Adn, the land, in the centermost part of the earth, the center or the middle or the closest, a very rich latitude, and the miraculous nature of the verse based upon the language itself. Okay, why adn al-ard? In the nearest or the... Recently, there was a scientist, Abdul Majid al-Zindani, he took this verse, State Geological Society, USG, a specialist on geology. He is good. He just look at the ground and he will tell you the history of the ground. Or he will just pick up a soil, look at it, he will give you history about the land. A geologist par excellence, Professor Palmer. So what happened was that Abdul Majid al-Zindani took the Quranic verse to him because he specialized on the earth's structure, you know. So they asked Professor Palmer, where is the center of the earth? He said it's in Himalayas. Where is the center of the earth? And he said it's in South America somewhere by the Aztecs. They check it, it is not so. The third time, they say, Professor Palmer, we want you to take this Quranic verse, Quran chapter 30, verse 1. It mentioned about the word Aden, Aden al-Ard. In our language, it means the center of the earth. We want you to go and look up. So Professor Palmer, wallahi, he took topographic map. Topographic map is the map of the, of the whole earth. He plotted an instrument. Surveying instrument is used. Height of is located near the Dead Sea and the heat of the earth. Then they ask him again, Professor Palmer, we would like to agree to take the picture of the whole globe. The Persians and the Romans took place. Mother of the cities. So if it is the mother of the city, around it are the other cities. The Quran used a beautiful word, Ummul Qura. Mother of all cities. Center of the cities. But the word I'm trying to give you to understand is the Aden. Fi Aden al-Ard. Because the Dead Sea area is 100,000 feet below sea level. That makes it the lower point. If you do contour are part of topography, are imaginary lines join point of equal height. You plot it. That is what they did. And eventually it shows them that the place where they fought the war between the Persians and the Romans is indeed part of the center of the earth. Who told Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Allah.
How could he? It is Allah. Now if I ask you to show me the center of this studio, Madam Haruna, if I say show me the center of the studio, it's going to take a long time. You need a big ruler and a tape and calculate and look at it. It will take a long time. Okay, show me the center of Accra. It's not easy. The center of Accra, how can you do that? It will take you years.
Yeah.
Okay, center of Africa. Okay, center of the earth, the Quran says, Aden al-Ard, the Romans are defeated in the center of the earth. Aden also gives us an indication of center of the earth. Muhammad, being an unlettered, could not have known this key and minute information. It has to be a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise, no human being will be able to give you this account. That's what makes the Quran special.
At that time.
Yep, up even until today. You can't even touch the Quran. Those who live at that time, they see it as a miracle based upon their thinking when they compare the world. Today, it's a bigger miracle. Our grandchildren, if they come, this same Quranic verse will turn around and make sense at the time that they live to give them a different perspective of what the verse actually means. That is the miracle.
Allah.
Quran is for yesterday, today, and tomorrow. That is the beauty of the Quran. You can't change the Quran. You can't do anything with the Quran but to accept it as the word of Allah.
Inshallah.
This is Professor Palmer. Professor Palmer, alhamdulillah, he made a beautiful statement about the Quran after he realized that the Quranic verse is indeed talking about the center of the earth. Gulibat al-Rum fi Aden al-Ard. Aden. Look at the Kamus, the dictionary of the Arabic language. It will tell you that it means the lowest. It means the nearest. It means the closest. It means the centermost part. It makes all these senses. Just like the word Ikra, it means to read, to recite, to say, to repeat, to proclaim. It makes all. Arabic is a very rich language. It doesn't give you one word. That's why the Arabs back then, they see everybody as they call them Ajam or Ajami. Ajami, that means, uncultured or retarded, because their language is so rich that they are proud with their language. They call everybody Ajami or Ajam. That's the Arabs, because they realize the mystery of the Arabic language. It's the only language of revelation that is surviving. The Hebrew language is no more spoken. What they are speaking is a mixed language with Armenian and the southern part of Palestine, mixed with the German language, which they call Yiddish. It's mixed. They don't have the authentic language that Moses spoke. And how many people speak Hebrew language today? We have about 12 million Jews in America. We have 4 million Jews in Israel. We have about 1.8 million Jews around town in diaspora. So if you put them together, less than 20 million Jews all over the world. The language is gone. The pure language of revelation is gone. The Hebrew language is not spoken no more. The only maybe surviving language that paleontologists and historians are saying is the Aramaic language, the language of Jesus. Jesus came from Palestine because he spoke Aramaic. Aramaic is a colloquial of Hebrew language. It's very close to Hebrew language. So far, we have 2,015 people speak that language. They are trying to revive that language, but it's irrevivable. Look at the Arabic language, the next language of revelation. Millions speaks it. Millions. It is a living language. It is a living language. How many nations, think in your mind, how many countries speak Arabic language? You can't even count them. A lot.
Uncountable, yeah.
A whole lot. All the other languages are dead. That tells you that the Arabic language is a superior language. English language came recently. It's one of the newest language. When the messenger was around, there was no English language. It doesn't exist. It is one of the new languages that came to town. Maybe we could say Greek and Latin. They might have, existed long before, the English language came. But Arabic language is the only language today. Who speak Greek language? Greece. Only Greece. They have two different types of Greek. They have spoke, but today they speak one nation speak Greek language. It's a research language. Yet it's one of the old. Tells you, Quran is Arabic, the Quranic Arabic language. Around it evolved other languages. And so when these people are researching the language, they realize that this is a powerful language, a superior language. End of time. Now, the next of judgment is getting close because the moon, as a result of he feed 5,000 people with 3 fish and few bread. What is your miracle? Muhammad said, the Quran is my ultimate miracle. It will supersede all the other books. It will be a miracle. But Muhammad did so many physical miracles. Muhammad don't even want it. Forget the one who gave the miracle to the prophet. They begin to worship the one who brought the miracle and gave it to them. So in Islam, the messenger said, do not elevate me like the other nation elevate their prophet. I'm a messenger of Allah and the servant of Allah. That's it. Don't go beyond that.
Period.
Don't elevate me. How humble and sincere this man is. So when he said, you want to see a sign from me? Same thing. They asked all the prophets. They came to Jesus in the book of Matthew. They said, look, you are a prophet. Okay. Sign means a miracle, something, a sign to show that you are a prophet. They asked Moses the same thing. All the prophets, they did this kind of miracle. So when they came, these Arabs to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do us a miracle and see if indeed Allah sent you. Then they look around. Okay, we want the moon to come down. See, the moon is going to split in between. It's going to split into two in between my fingers. So Muhammad raised his hand, and they could see dividing the moon into halves. Maybe some bad spirit. We don't believe that. This is man. Anytime this prophet did the miracle, they don't believe in that. Even Jesus, they said to him, he was taught by the bigger shaitan called Beelzebub in their book. They said Beelzebub is the king of the jinn who taught Jesus how to do miracles. They refuse to believe in him. Up till today, the Israelites sit in Israel. They don't believe in Jesus, even though he did all this miracle. But we believe in him. So Muhammad made the moon to split right in front of them. Quran 54 verse 12, Surah Al-Qamar. The first 1 and 2 verse, اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر. The time of judgment day is closed because the moon have been rent asunder. Now, how do we know? The scientific calculation that brought about the prediction to come to fruition is that if you count the number of verses from that Surah Al-Qamar, from that surah to the end of Quran, you have 1,389 verses. 1,389 verses from the Surah Al-Qamar, Quran 54 verse 12. You count all the way to the Quranic end, you have 1,389 verses. And 389 correspond with the Gregorian calendar 1969. And in the year 1969 was when the man landed on moon. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Man landed on moon in 1969.
Yuri Gagarin.
Yuri Gagarin, Neil Armstrong, they landed on the moon. And the word inshaqqa, iktarabatu sa'at wa inshaqa al-qamar. Inshaqqa, in the Arabic connotation, it means to dig something out, or to break something out, or to crack something out, or to fracture something up. So Allah is telling us in this Quranic verse, iktarabatu sa'at wa inshaqa al-qamar. Shaqqa means the moon have been cracked, have been split, have been fractured. Wallahi, today, if you go to New York City, you go to 42nd Street, between 5th Avenue and 6th Avenue, there is a huge library called the New York State Library. The biggest library I've ever seen. It has so many departments. Once you go there, you go to Department of Physics and Astronomy. You will see a huge rock. Part of the moon is being brought down. You go and see it. It's in a glass cave. You can't touch it, but you could see the moon right there in front of you. That's what the Quran said. Wa inshaqa al-qamar. The day of judgment is coming very close because the moon have been cracked. Of course, we see the moon. Who told Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam this prediction?
Allahu Akbar.
So mankind needs something to think about. Let me give you the number again. I'll give you the number of the studio for your WhatsApp in case you want to get involved with what is going on right now. Like I said, you can't call me, you can't, call, but you can WhatsApp 024-584-2728. 024-584-2728. This number, you could WhatsApp me. WhatsApp, Sheikh. Yeah, I like that. So you WhatsApp me and we take it from there, inshallah. And I'll be looking forward. Pretty soon we're going to open the line so you could send your, questions or your concerns so we could address them, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And those that we can, answer them. We will let you know, inshallah. And we also giving acknowledgement to Mr. Salim Kalmoni of Japan Motors, the CEO of Japan Motors. Of course, the Nissan is the car that goes along with the 21st century. And then we have Bassam El Hussein, the CEO of Ultimate Supply, which is located in Adabraka. They are the people that make it easy for us to do this tafsir today. And then we have Al Hajia, a businesswoman in Accra who don't want her name to be mentioned. She donated a large amount of money to support the Ramadan tafsir that is going on, like this one that is going on. So we say to those who don't really read the Quran. So sometimes somebody came to me, and that was in the United States. It was a time that he said to me, your religion is so violent. I said, really? I said, okay, what do you mean by that? He said, we're fighting all over the place. I said, okay. He said, why is it that no nations are fighting except in Islamic countries? I love your religion. I love everything about the religion, but one thing I don't like is you guys kill a lot. So now I have to open an eye. I have to explain. Now I have to go back into a psychic. I have to let her see things in perspective, not on myopic way. I've got to give her, the reason to think broad. So I begin to give her the history of her own country. I gave her about 5 minutes history of America, how America came into being. She was like, whoa. I talked to her about Britain. Her ancestors came from Britain. I told her the history of Britain. She was shocked. I gave her the history of the Jewish religion. She was shocked. I gave her the history of Christianity, and she was like flabbergasted. So you see, if somebody tells you Islam is this and that, don't just believe in it. Go read it. Go do your own research. Now, if I tell you this food doesn't taste good, and they say, yeah, it doesn't taste good, even though you didn't taste it, and you believe in that, it doesn't make any sense. Why aren't you using your head? Why would you accept what people say without you having to research into it and to, find out yourself? Me, if you tell me anything, I don't just believe in it. I'm going to research it. So then I became friends with her. She asked me questions, and I've been give her answers and ask her questions. Now she understands clearly where the perspective of Islam is coming from. That is how you do things. I wish the world will have the chance to read the Quran. I wish the world will have the chance to take the Quran as a book of reference in terms of their own life. I wish people will stop learning Islam on Sheikh Google. You know Sheikh Google? As the internet. You just Google and you learn without any teacher to explain to you. So if I want to know about anything, I have to go to the source. Same thing is true. I want to learn the Bible, I go to the source. I don't go asking people, are you Anglican? Are you Methodist? Are you Jehovah's Witness? I don't do that. I go to the source, then I read and understand the mind of the book. That's how you do things. If scientists, they want to know something, they don't go asking people around. No, they go to the source of the science and analyze it until it becomes factual to them. That's how they do things. But now you are believing in what you hear on television, what you see on radio, what CNN tells you, CNBC tells you, all these media outlets, what they say about Islam, then you take it and you believe in it. No, man, you have to use your God-given, senses also to analyze and come to conclusion as to how to project this information. So from today on, inshallah, I would like for us to see the Quran on a different perspective. The Quran is the last book that Allah has given mankind. It is our roadmap. It is our GPS. It is our compass. It is our staff that we walk with. It is all in all. The Quran came as a result of taking people out of darkness to light. That's what the Quran did. So the Quran is getting very close to getting people to understand. But the Messenger said, the end of time will not come until all the nations, where the sun rises and sets, until they see and they get to know about Islam. So most of the time, those who hate Islam, they are doing selling Islam for it, because they are the ones that come on television and radio and make mention of Islam. And before I go, and I'm going to come back and then I'm going to take your questions, I'm going to acknowledge Mr. Salim Kalmouni, CEO of Japan Motors, and Mr. Bassam El Hussein, CEO of Ultimate Supply at Africa, and Al Hajia, a businesswoman who don't want her name mentioned. She gave us a lot of money to support the Ramadan Tafsir. May Allah